Hello everybody, and welcome to another Dominaria Draft here on the channel. I've brought the face cam back, and I'm ready to dive in. But before I do, I want to remind you that if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to support the growth and thrivingness of our community. That's not a word, thrivingness, but who cares? I really appreciate each and every one that does those things. And if you have any questions or comments at all about Dominaria, or about the channel, or about me, or anything at all, be sure to leave those in the comment section down below, and I'll gladly respond with my thoughts or answers. Without further ado, let's dive into the draft. I've really been enjoying this trip down memory lane / this little flashback moment, and I hope you have been enjoying it as well. And we have a very spicy pick to start things off. So first off, I want to say Tashar is a very strong card. You can usually get a decent number of historic cards. Keep in mind that artifacts count as historic cards, and then just bringing back creatures that cost 3 or less is very powerful. Tashar is also relatively splashable. It also triggers your other historic cards if you can get other things to care about historic. So overall, Tashar is pretty much better than every uncommon and common. Even though I don't love drafting white in this set, Tashar is a good enough reason to do so. Also, flying can be relevant as well. So Tashar is definitely going to be the pick in this pack, though I do want to mention some of the other cards. Knight of Grace is a very solid card. First Strike is a good ability in limited especially, and the black ability does come up a decent amount because there are 2 removal spells at common in black that are both very strong. So Knight of Grace is a pretty solid card. Yargle is okay. It works with the historic cards, but overall is not like insane or anything. 9-3 is like just kind of a funny stat line, but like not super insane because a lot of the time the 3 toughness kind of trades. But it does combo well with things like Jousting Lance. Gideon's Reproach is solid, but like not a card that I prioritize super highly. It's just not the type of removal that you want, because a lot of the time you can't like kill the creature because they just won't block with it, or they want it, or like you have to hold this up and hope they attack with it. It's just not as good, the type of removal that I love running in limited. And then the other noteworthy commons are Deathbloom Valve. This is a solid 3-drop, very good. Calico Skin Witch has a lot of utility in the late game and early game, so I like it for that reason. And then Gitu Chronicler is just one of the best red commons, but definitely just going to snap up this Tashar here and see what we can get. Okie doke. So now we have a very crazy pick, because this pack is loaded. This pack has tons of great cards in it. At the uncommon slot, Shanna has a decent amount of potential. It's hard for, I mean, the first ability is not super relevant, but it can grow quite big in a like green-white deck that uses Saprolings. But do want to mention we're not super committed to white just because we took a Tashar. So it also triggers Tashar, which is relevant, but I don't think Shanna is the pick here just because it doesn't leave us as flexible. If we look at the commons slot, there are several commons that are all very powerful. Llanowar Elves is one of the best green commons. I think it's a little bit worse than Saproling Migration, but it's still very powerful. Academy Drake is a strong blue common. Divination is a card that I love in this format. This card is incredible. And then in black, there's Vicious Offering. Vicious Offering is also quite good. And then Jousting Lance, another card that triggers Tashar and is just very, is a decent card. I don't think it's the pick here, but it's just a card to keep in mind. I do want to say Sergeant at Arms is not as good as it looks, a card I'm not happy to play. So, and then I think Davenant Trapper is better, but I still don't want to take Davenant Trapper over these strong cards in other colors. So now we have to choose which card we want. Green-white is an okay color combination, but if I was going to take a green card, I would probably lean towards the Shanna, just because I want to play the Tashar if I can, and so taking a Llanowar Elves is a little bit less ideal, though Llanowar Elves is a defensible pick, and if someone took that over the Shanna, I could definitely see that, because you're not committed to white by any means. But I think, personally, I would just take the Shanna, first of all, because it works well with Tashar, both in that you can bring it back, and that you can use it to trigger Historic, and also it's just a very strong card. In green-white color combination. But I think I'm going to be taking either Vicious Offering or Divination. I think Divination is better than Academy Drake, which is kind of weird because Academy Drake has a lot of upside. I just don't think, you don't usually kick it very often. You usually just cast this as a 3-mana 2/2 flyer, with the kicker ability just being a little bit of extra stuff, which is fine. It's still a very good card, but I think Divination is better. It just has worked out very well for me in the past, just taking Divination every time I see it. And I do love just getting into blue very early on. Like blue-white flyers can work out. There's also a decent amount of historic themes. There's Wrath, which is an uncommon blue-white card that is also a 3/3 flyer with flash and his historic and things like that. And then Vicious Offering is a strong removal spell. So in this pick, I think in order of appearance, I think I'm gonna go. I would go Divination, then Vicious Offering, then Shanna, then Llanowar Elves, and then Academy Drake. I think that's my pick order. The Vicious Offering and the Divination are very close, but it's kind of pushed over the edge by the fact that any combination that has blue in it is so much better than any combination that doesn't have blue in it, and also that black-white was not a color combination that I really enjoyed playing in this format, just because a lot of the time it can struggle to close the game / get value in the format. Like, this is just a 1-for-1, this is a 2-for-1. I mean, yeah. it's really weird because in almost every format, I think Vicious Offering would be correct, but I just have had great success just taking cards like Divination in this spot, and I think I'm going to keep up with that. And now Cloud Reader Sphinx, the best common in the set, rewarded to the max for taking that Divination. Cloud Reader Sphinx is incredible, and it's kind of an obviously good card. Like 5 mana, 3/4, Scry 2 is just great. But then in this format, it's randomly like way better than you would even think it was. Like it blocks like every relevant ground creature, and it's bigger than every other flyer, and just you'll take as many of these as you can get. Blood Tallow Candle is a card I would play one copy of if we played Tashar, because triggering a historic is quite nice. Other than the Cloud Reader Sphinx, this pack is quite weak. Like Sentinel of the Pearl Trident is not excellent. Not a super powerful card. And yeah. Other than that, like Stronghold Confessor is all right. Pierce the Sky you can kind of main deck in this format if you're green, because there are a decent number of Cloud Reader Sphinxes to deal with and things like that. And then Keldon Raider is an okay red card, but like Cloud Reader Sphinx is the best card in this pack by a mile. And now, continuing with the blue trend, Syncopate is quite strong. Haphazard Bombardment is solid as well, though. That could be worth taking. However, I just really like just sticking to blue. Syncopate's a card that's really nice to have access to. It deals with a lot of the threats. You can often hold it up. It works really well with Vidalian Arcanist, a card that you can get pretty late. I wasn't a fan of Call the Cavalry. Sage of Latinam is just unplayable, so even though it's kind of cute with Tashar, if you can get, like, I guess, like a Skittering Surveyor or something. Haphazard Bombardment's interesting, but I'm not as big of a fan of just going to another color when I already have a Tashar in white, so there's no real reason to like branch into a second color right now. I can just stay flexible, stay in blue, and really start committing to that and take the Syncopate here. Playing blue is just so much better than playing any other color that is just worth doing things like this, in my opinion. And now we don't see any strong blue cards, but there aren't really strong cards in other colors. Champion of the Flame is not particularly playable. It's just not worth going for an Aura sub-theme, especially if you're playing red-blue, but just any deck doesn't really want to be playing Champion of the Flame. Diligent Excavator, sometimes you'll have a little bit of self-mill synergy, but you generally don't want to be playing this card. 2 mana, 1/3, that doesn't really have a ton of upside, isn't great. I wouldn't mind playing red-blue, though. Red-blue is a decent color combination. One of the better combinations if it's open, because red-blue Wizards was one of the best decks in this format. Artificer's Assistant isn't playable. 1 mana, 1/1 flyer with minor upside just isn't that good. And then Benalish Honor Guard was also unplayable, just 2 mana, 2/2 a lot of the time, and not a card I'm a fan of. Playing cards like this just loses you games in Dominaria. So in this pack, I think I'm just going to take the Blood Tallow Candle. I mentioned that I'd probably play one copy if I ended up playing Tashar. The blue decks do sometimes struggle to have hard removal in play, and Blood Tallow Candle can solve both of those problems at once. After that, I think I would take the Soul Salvage and maybe like hedge on blue-black, but Blood Tallow Candle is a pretty solid pickup here. And now, so now there's some interesting options. War Chief is unplayable. Tolarian Scholar is like actually more playable than it looks because there are some wizard sub-themes, but I don't really want to take it this early. Adamant Will is a card that is sometimes playable. Another card I don't really want to take early. I think this is a decent opportunity to pick up a Soul Salvage, but there's also a Rampaging Cyclops, and as I said, red-blue is a decent combination, but I don't think Rampaging Cyclops is very good either. And then Mammoth Spider is like a fine green card, and there are 3 green cards in the pack. And blue-green is also a decent color combination because it lends itself to splashing pretty well. It's got a very bomby uncommon in Tatyova if you can get that. And overall, just a very solid combination. I think I don't love playing combat tricks in Dominaria. I'd rather just be playing like solid individual cards. So I think I'd rather take a Mammoth Spider over a Gift of Growth, and then Soul Salvage is like not a card that is fine in black decks. I already have a couple creatures, but I think I'm just going to take the Mammoth Spider here, and we'll see if green's open or if black's open or what's going on. And now this pack is just really bad. I think we'll take the Voltaic Servant. It works with Tashar on both sides, and I think that's just enough synergy to be worth taking over an Adventurous Impulse, a card that I'm not a huge fan of. Also, sometimes you can get a little bit of artifact synergy going, and so I think Voltaic Servant is the pick over a Partick Wanderer. I'm not a huge fan of expensive cards that are understated, so we'll just take the Voltaic Servant. And now Homerid Explorer. Homerid Explorer actually does a decent amount of work. There are a couple cards that care about the graveyard, and like Soul Salvage, and Homerid Explorer is just a fine card. I don't like playing multiple Blood Tallow Candles, and we aren't sure on our second color yet, so I don't think it's worth like gambling on anything. Adamant Will would be okay. Another Blood Tallow Candle is not really what I want. We're just going to take the Explorer. And now we'll take a Calico Skin, which this card is the best card in the pack by a mile. Getting one late might be a sign that black is open, and we haven't really been like seeing major signals, so that could be something to keep in mind. And now Soul Salvage came back. Guardian of Koilos, really not where I want to be. Soul Salvage is actually pretty nice. moving me towards a blue-black deck, blue-black control. Maybe I could splash a Tashar if I get a Skittering Surveyor or something of that nature. But Soul Salvage is a fine pickup here and works well with the Homered Explorer as well. And now Sentinel, Pearl Trident, like maybe we can get somebody because they won't be as familiar with this format, but not really a great card. And now we'll just take the uncommon because you never know when you'll need an uncommon for your collection, and kind of works a little bit with those. Befuddle's okay, not really great though. And then Primordial Worm is actually more playable than it looks. Wow, this is a very interesting pick. Well, just looking at this pick, we see Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, which is a very powerful card. It's like a straight up 2-for-1, very powerful. But I generally was not a fan of the legendary sorceries. I think the Jaya one is worth building around, and the blue one sometimes worth building around. But it's very hard to get it working, just because we don't have any on-color like blue-black legendaries. So I think in this spot, I would rather take either Tetsuko. Tetsuko's a nice 2-drop. It works well with cards like Calico Skin Witch. There's a couple of other like 1-powered creatures that you can pick up in blue decks, like Vidalian Arcanist and things like that. So Tetsuko is definitely a card that I could consider. Academy Drake, I think, is a little bit worse than Syncopate. Shivan Fire is like the best red common, so Shivan Fire is definitely a card to consider as well, but we haven't really seen any red cards. We opened a Gitu Chronicler, and then we haven't really seen anything since then, so I don't think we want to go into the Shivan Fire route. We saw a couple of late green cards. We saw the Primordial Worm. Let's just put these cards into the deck so we can see them. We saw this Primordial Worm last pick, but we did also like wheel Skin Witch and get a late Soul Salvage, so blue-black could be more open. I think the safest bet is to just stick with a blue card because our blue options are pretty good, and I think that the Tetsuko is just a little bit better than the Academy Drake, just because it makes some of your other cards that you can potentially get very annoying later on. Though Academy Drake is pretty solid. Just getting a 2-drop into play that is like chips through some damage is nice though. Shivan Fire is like the best card in this pack, but it's not anywhere near a color we're playing. Saproling Migration is very good as well. It works really well with Tetsuko, but we're not really in that direction as of right now. At least not super heavily. We could still just be blue-white and play this Tashar, and Tetsuko works really well with that plan. I think having one Syncopate, the second one gets a lot worse. That being said, I still don't mind running in more Syncopates. I think I would go I think Tetsuko is going to be a little bit better than the second Syncopate on average. So the first Syncopate I might take over Tetsuko. And then Academy Drake, once again, a solid card, but I think I'd rather just take the Tetsuko here. Okay, so now this is a really interesting pick because Serra Angel is very powerful. But Skittering Surveyor gives us a lot of flexibility onto where we want to go with this draft because it's guaranteed to make our deck, it's guaranteed to be pretty solid, and it could potentially enable a splash. It's not worth going into red for a Chain Whirler. It's too hard to cast, and we didn't see any red pack 1, which probably means we're not going to see any red pack 3. And even if red is open this pack, we're only going to get to see like 4 more packs where red is going to be open. Before things start wheeling, and we aren't like sure that there's going to be a ton of great stuff anyway. So I think the pick is clearly here between Serra Angel and Skittering Surveyor, and we just have to kind of evaluate whether we think white is going to be open. And white didn't even seem particularly open in pack 1 because all we did was we first picked a Tashar, and then there weren't any other white cards that we deemed worthy of picking. So here I think I am just going to take the Skittering Surveyor and keep my options more open, keep myself more flexible. Serra Angel is good, but I think I'd actually rather just have a Cloud Things because the Scry 2 is so relevant. Okay, so now we're seeing more red-blue cards. Adeliz the Cinderwind is quite nice in a Wizards deck, but we aren't really in that direction. I think this pick is a pretty clear Academy Drake, maybe a Llanowar Elves if I'm feeling particularly risky, but I don't think there's any reason to move out of just taking all the blue cards I see and keeping myself very flexible. Like if you get rid of my my non-blue cards, I'm going to be putting them back in a second, but I have like a relatively playable like mono blue deck. We're not playing Sage of Latnam, but I have like a lot of cards that can go into any strategy, and then I don't have very powerful pulls into any other combination. And having this flexibility means that I can really go any direction I want if I open something powerful in pack 3. In pack 1, keep in mind that green and black seemed the most open, other than blue. We didn't really see any white cards to go with this Tashar, and we didn't see really any red cards. So we'd rather move into green or black than like a white deck at this point. Gideon's Reproach is not a reason to go into white for me here. So I think we're going to take the Academy Drake now over the Llanowar Elves and see where this takes us. Now, every time we take a blue card over like another option, it just gives us a lot. I don't know why. It just feels kind of powerful. Daring Archaeologist is quite good. it works with the historic theme from Tashar as well, because artifacts are historic. So we can get some counters on our archaeologists, as well as getting things back for Tashar to trigger and things like that. There's also Danitha. There's just a decent number of white cards in this pack overall. I think the best cards in this pack are Grow from the Ashes, Syncopate, and Daring Archaeologist. But Daring Archaeologist is only a great card if you have some artifacts to get back. And we have Blood Tallow Candle and Skittering Surveyor, which aren't the easiest to get into the graveyard, though we do also have a Homered Explorer to mill them into our graveyard. Danitha's okay, but not insane. I kind of just want to take the Syncopate, though. Get more blue cards and keep myself open. I think Daring Archaeologist is alright, but like not insane. And a lot of the time it's not going to do a ton of work. So I think I'm just going to take the Syncopate. I don't mind running 2 Syncopates. And now we can pick up a Jousting Lance over a bunch of nonsense that isn't very good. Jousting Lance is probably not going to make the cut in this deck, but it's a fine card to take. And now we're faced with a pretty weak pack. I think Llanowar Envoy is a defensible pick, just a 3-mana 3/2. I don't need another Sage of Latinam. Excavation Elephant could be okay with all of my artifacts, and I think it will be my pick here. I think it keeps me more open, because then I'll have 2 white cards, 2 black cards, and 2 green cards, and so I could really be a little bit more flexible even. And now I could either take a 3rd Syncopate, or I could take my first Deep Freeze, or I could take a Memorial to Glory, but I think that's worse than taking one of these blue cards when I'm guaranteed to play them if I take them. Deep Freeze is a nice little out against like some bomb rares, things that can be really annoying for blue decks, because I don't really have hard removal in blue other than this Blood Tallow Candle, and Deep Freeze can just let me win with flyers in the air or things like that. And a 3rd Syncopate is probably not as ideal as just taking the first Deep Freeze. Deep Freeze is just a solid card. And this pack is insane. We're going to take the Blink of an Eye here. Blink of an Eye is one of the best blue commons. It's another way to... It works really nicely with Syncopate, because you can end of turn bounce and then counter it on their next turn. Tetsuko is also fine, but when you already have one, getting a second one's not as powerful. And definitely don't need a second Deep Freeze. So we're just taking the Blink of an Eye. Blink of an Eye is great. And we could take another Syncopate. Navigator's Compass, not great, but Syncopate's always good. And now we'll just take Pierce the Sky over Pardic Wanderer. If we end up playing green, we might play Pierce the Sky. And now we'll just take the uncommon. And yeah, we're not going to be playing these cards anyway. Okay. And wow, this is a great card to open. Karn is incredible. It's in the same pack as its Cloud Eater Sphinx, but Karn is definitely still the pick here. It's kind of hard to beat a Karn. We also have a decent artifact sub-theme, so we could actually get some Karn struct value. Just playing a Karn on turn 4 is very good, and a lot of the times you'll be able to protect it, especially if you build your deck a little bit around it. It's weird because, I mean, obviously it's the pick because it's just, Planeswalkers are so good in Limited in sets that aren't filled with Planeswalkers, like War of the Spark. So Karn is clearly the pick here, and I think anything else in any pack with Karn would be a mistake, even though Cloud Eater Sphinx is quite nice. So definitely Karn here, and then I would take Cloud Eater Sphinx and then Weight of Memory, which is maybe a order that might surprise you, and then I would take the Vendalian Arcanist. But Karn is a pretty nice pickup. We don't need a 4th Syncopate. Quende's a decent card. We don't really have a ton of things with First Strike, but it is a nice combo with Jousting Lance. So if we did pick, when we do, I think we are going to pick the Quende, and then if we do play the Quende and like end up in a white deck, then we will also play the Jousting Lance, because that's a cool combination if you can get it going. And there's nothing else really in this pack. Fiery Intervention's fine, but we aren't really playing red. And Thallid Soothsayer is fine, but we don't have a ton of creatures regardless, so we're just going to take the Quende. And now Cloud Eater Sphinx very easily. Cloud Eater Sphinx is just incredible, and yeah, definitely taking this. Wizard's Retort would also be a fine option if we didn't have 3 Syncopates already, but we do, so we're not taking that. And then I don't think we're playing green at this point, so we're going to just cut these 2 cards. And now we're kind of just, I think we're more committed to blue-white, so at this point we'll just say we're blue-white, and then if we see something else we might reconsider. And a Tempest Djinn, we're going to be heavily blue already, so Tempest Djinn is like the perfect card for our deck. We're going to be running at least 10 islands. We're kind of going to be lightly splashing white. Probably not going to play this Elephant even. We'll probably just be playing white for Tashar and Quende maybe. And then the Tempest Djinn is just going to be a house. Elfheim Druid is quite nice, but it's definitely not competing with this. And then the Gitu Chronicler isn't in our color at all, so Tempest Djinn it is, and a second Tempest Djinn. This deck is unfair. We could probably just play mono blue and get away with it, which would be kind of funny, so we might just do that, because having 2 Tempest Djinns really does incentivize you to do that. So another Tempest Djinn it will be over a Blink of an Eye. So that was pretty brutal. And then there's a Rona here. Rona actually would be very good in this deck because we have Candle, Jousting Lands, Servant, Surveyor, a couple of historic guys. Karn we can get back. I kind of just want to take the Academy Drake, though, because we're not going to be playing black, I don't think. Because we don't really want to have enough... We're not going to have enough swamps to get double black for the skin, which so that card's not going to be very good. Soul Salvage could be okay to get back, like, Tempest Djinns, but overall, I don't think we really need it as much, even. So I think we'll just take the Academy Drake and just stick to our blue cards, and now we get a Blink of an Eye, which is just incredible as well. So this deck really came together. And Vidalian Arcanist, this is actually the perfect card. We needed another 2-drop to fill things out because we have Tetsuko and Voltaic Servant right now. Getting a Vidalian Arcanist is going to be quite nice. It helps us cast our kicked, where are they? Our kicked Blink of an Eyes, and I'm very happy to see Vidalian Arcanist. Maybe the other one will wheel. Oh my gosh, Cloud Reader Sphinx wheeled. That's disgusting and should never happen. We'll definitely be taking that Cloud Reader Sphinx here over Weight of Memory. Weight of Memory is, yeah, Cloud Reader Sphinx is just so good. Vidalian Arcanist would also be nice in this deck, but we'll just take the Sphinx. And now we'll just start taking like the uncommons for the collection or whatever. So this deck is disgustingly powerful. I think we're just going to play mono blue. Just because when you have Tempest Djinn running all islands is so good. So let's just see what our mono blue deck looks like. If we cut those two, those are our only white cards, which means we can cut Jousting Lance. And keep in mind that these Syncopates can also count as 2-drops a lot of the time. Because in some case, like in many times, there's like not really a cost to playing white spell, to like playing a second color. But here, Tempest Djinn is going to be like massive. Like when you have all islands, you're guaranteed to play it on turn 3. And playing Tashar is good, especially because we have a decent number of historic cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 historic cards to help with the Tashar. And we also have Skittering Surveyor to find it. But I just, at the end of the day, Quende is not really worth splashing when we only have one card that enables First Strike, the Jousting Lance, which isn't even good in our deck. So I don't think Tashar is worth jeopardizing our every other card in our deck. And I think we're going to just go up to 18 islands because we don't really have another playable in our colors. I guess in Dalfrin's Void is definitely not worth playing. Jousting Lance is not super great. Curator's Ward is not good either. So I think this is going to be our deck. Mono blue. Definitely going to put Tempest Djinn as our poster child card. Let's see what card back. Do we want to just use the island card back? I'm just going to stick with Soul Ring. Yeah, this deck is great. And yeah, very powerful. This is the dream. Literally mono blue. This is probably like the ideal situation. I'm very hyped. I'm even wearing a blue shirt, so my mono blue spirit is showing through. This is actually awesome. So yeah, this is what we get for second picking a Divination. We get to play mono blue. We should probably change our avatar to Jace. And this is a fine, good enough hand. We'll keep it. Obviously, we want to have turn 3 Tempest Djinn because that's like going to win us the game every time. But you can't be too picky. We have a 2-drop. We have interaction. Oh, Skirk Prospector. This person has no idea what's going on. So yeah, we're going to play 3 islands, then play a Skittering Surveyor, and they're going to be like, "What's happening?" Running 18 lands is also a little bit better because we have 3 Cloud Reader Sphinxes, so once we get to 5 lands, we're less likely to draw future lands. And it's great because if my opponent ramps something out, I can just bounce it. Ouch. They're ramping so hard. We can also just deep freeze it. I'd rather them kill my Voltaic Servant than my deep freeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have enough lands. Let's just play Divination. Tetsuko's a nice draw here. This is awesome. Okay, Fire Fist Adept. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll just take a hit for 3 from the Fire Fist Adept. And then we can deep freeze it if we need to. They only have 1 card in hand. We haven't drawn a Syncopate yet. I forgot about Academy Drake. We also have that card to use our mana. We're at a very high life total. We have a decent amount of interaction here. Jeez, Crows and Druid, sure. And now we will just play our Cloud Reader Sphinx. Look for another Cloud Reader Sphinx. So if they don't kill this Cloud Reader, if they do kill this Cloud Reader Sphinx, we're going to take a turn off to play Deep Freeze and Tetsuko so that they can't keep hitting us. But if they don't, then we'll just play another Cloud Reader Sphinx. Okay, sure. That's okay. I'm looking for a Syncopate because that would just lock the game up. So that was basically a draw too. And no attacks. Next turn I'll have mana up and I can afford to attack. Skizik, eh? We'll block. We're double blocking because he can't kill both, and this just soaks up damage. Means we don't take an unnecessary point of trample. Let's just play out our cards. No attacks. Gonna make the obvious blocks, and we can blink of an eye this if we think it's gonna be a problem. Yeah, so we'll just bounce that. I wish we hadn't played the Blood Tallow Candle because then we'd draw a card from it. But that's fine. And this thing's unblockable too, so we'll just attack with 1 because we can just triple block this, and then he can kill our Tetsuko, but we're in good shape. Oh yeah, now we just win. We can kill a creature with this. We can syncopate anything that actually matters. Also, Vidalian Arcanist can be used for syncopate. And if he goes for a combat trick, we'll just Blood Tallow Candle him. And we can also just syncopate this so we don't lose any of our creatures. Oh, this is so good for us. make X4 because he could technically pay 3 because of the Skirk Prospector. Let's just end this as soon as possible. The Flame of Keld. Yeah, that's game. This is where if I was on Magic Online, I'd be like, wow, I got so color screwed. Except I wouldn't say that because they would know I was lying. Because I cast a Skittering Surveyor and still just got an island. Because mono blue is where it's at. Man, that back-to-back Tempest Djinns really just like made this deck awesome. I mean, we didn't even need them that game because we have triple Cloud Reader Sphinx. Oh man, this deck is so good. This hand is excellent. Syncopate on the draw is pretty solid because you're going to counter up on mana a lot of the time. And it means that your opponent can't do anything too crazy. And if we syncopate, then we can divination, but I don't think we want a divination until we have like a board presence potentially. Definitely just going to counter that. Let's just get this into play and then pass the turn. We don't really care about any other 4-drops, so let's just draw 2. Perfect. And now we can use our Syncopate to protect our Tempest Djinn. Shivan Fire can't kill this unless it's kicked, which he doesn't have 5 mana for. And Fire Your Intervention can't kill it either. And opponent concedes. Man, our deck is so good. I mean, our opponent didn't do anything that game, but it wouldn't have mattered. It would not have mattered at all. Oh, man. Drafting monocolored decks always feels awesome. Because we actually have a reason to be monocolored. We're like... Even with one Tempest Djinn, it might have been worth it to be monocolored. Because Tempest Djinn with all islands is just so good. And this hand is broken again. We have Karn, we have Befuddle, and we're good. Oh my gosh, so good, so much power, so much power. Another artifact for the Karn. Yeah, we're getting black-white. And they're missing land drops. I like running 18 lands in best of 1. I've just found that I never get mana screwed when I have 18 lands. Or I get mana screwed like once every 8 games. So if you can run 18 lands, just do it. Just play a removal spell on my Academy Drake, I beg you. Oh my gosh, Power Stone Shard. This is over. This game is so over. We're just digging for our... Tempest Djinn. Little do they know that we actually want lands. They're giving us exactly what we want. Let's just keep plussing. Yeah, we don't need that many lands. We're definitely not trading this for one of their 2/2s. Let's keep plussing. Opponent concedes. I didn't even have to play the Tempest Djinn. Oh, that's so brutal. My opponents have been mana screwed, which means I can't fully show off how powerful my deck is to my opponents. It's sad. They don't get to realize that they're going to lose anyway. Man, Cloud Reader Sphinx wheeling on MTG Arena should not happen. Maybe I was the only blue drafter in my pod. Dang. Oh my gosh, this hand. Every hand I draw is so broken. Ah! It's so broken. What the heck? I've even been on the draw like every game. Wow, they're playing Zalfrin Void. Not only am I playing with a deck that is basically a constructed deck, I'm also playing against people that don't know what they're doing. Oh, he has Arcanist. Nice. Good work. Maybe he does know what he's doing. I guess I kind of look like the one who doesn't know what he's doing right now, because Voltaic Servant's not insane or anything. Oh, he does! He knows! Except he's playing Zalfrin Void, which means he probably doesn't know. Okie doke. Tempest Djinns. Voltaic Servant's actually a great combo with Icy Manipulator, I will say. Okay, never mind. Everything I said stands corrected. Shield to the Realm is so bad. He's holding up Gideon's Triumph. Like, why would he not equip? Let's just not attack, and then just play Hammered Explorer. Like, sure, he can counter it if he wants with a Syncopate. We'll mill ourselves. Get some more information about our draws, things like that. Okay. Just milling yourself for information is generally fine. We're not going to get decked in this situation. Davenant Trapper. So my opponent definitely has the Gideon's Triumph. Because otherwise they would just equip. I'm fine trading these off. Right now I'm just like in a spot where I don't need to attack with this. I could technically blink of an eye my own guy. But making him hold up this 2 mana every turn is kind of hurting his development, I think. Oh, nice. Land me. Perfect. Even though we need a 6th land for that, we don't need to prioritize it very heavily. And now that we have Syncopate, we don't have to care about his Gideon's Triumph or whatever. And we'll just hit him for 10 next turn or something. Aw, Seal Away was what it was. Oh, but we have Blink of an Eye to get it back at instant speed and wreck him. This is why Deep Freeze is not as good, because I can still block 2 points of damage. He can't really attack me with anything. So we will end of turn Blink of an Eye, Seal Away. But we'll hold up Syncopate for now. This costs 6 to activate, so we can't threaten that one right now, but we don't need to. We do not need to. Sure. And we draw a card. Perfect. Let's just attack with just Academy Drake. Keep his suspicions down. And then we'll go for the kill all in one turn. Okay, never mind. Let's counter that guy. Might as well make X equal to 2. Because we can't cast anything anyway. Okay, so he still has this Seal Away that might be a little bit annoying, but we'll just play around it. Oh, he has Lyra. Good thing we have this Deep Freeze and also this Blood Tallow Candle. We'll just Blood Tallow Candle it. This is a 5/5. This can actually, now that we do that, we won't do that, obviously. We'll just send. And now his man is a little bit more cramped. Boom! We got the win! Hooray! Because if he drew, like, I guess if he drew Blessed Light, he could still kill both of them, but yeah, this is not fair magic. I'm just going to take a screenshot of this deck real quick so I have a picture of it. Let's just... Save as Dominaria Mono Blue. That's pretty awesome. This deck is great. Let's just keep going. What a deck we have. It's funny because Dominaria was like a while ago. It was like last year. It was 2 years ago or something. Last year's spring set was Rivals of Ixalan. No, it went Rivals of Ixalan, then Dominaria. We'll keep this hand. This hand is broken. Any hand with Tempest Djinn is so good. That's why playing all islands is so good for our deck. I probably would have played Mono Blue even if I didn't have 2 Tempest Djinns, to be quite honest, just because the 1 Tempest Djinn is just better than the Tashar, probably. Why do we keep playing against opponents playing white? White was not a very good color in this format. And for people wondering why I'm only in gold rank despite crushing people like this, it's just because I only have, it's like I don't play enough to get into a higher rank. Let's just get rid of the knight. Stay ahead on board and tempo and things. Like, I usually play best of 3 drafts because of sideboarding, but Dominaria doesn't have best of 3 as an option. I'm just really enjoying it, so. La da dee, da 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 da. Hit for 4. And then we'll blink of an eye whatever he plays this turn, probably. Sure, we'll blink of an eye one of the tokens. Play your lands before attacking with your Tempest Djinns. I do not need lands 6 and 7. I already have land 6. This costs 7 to do. Blessed Light. Aw, sad day. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Oh, man, this is brutal. So we get to go Voltaic Servant and blink of an eye, his other token. Sure. Let's just kill his other token here. Sure. So he's going to play a historic card next turn. He's going to get all the value in the world. I guess we could have just bounced the Cabal Paladin. Maybe that would have been better. Yeah, it's probably not correct to chump block here. Because he can chump block for 4 damage next turn. Oh, Pegasus Courser, sure. So I would go to 10 here. And then he would attack for 3, 4, 9. Which would be +2 from this. So let's just chump block this turn. And this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because we don't want to go to 10 and then have him top deck a historic spell, like an equipment, and then hit me for like exactly 10 or something. Because he would have pinged me for 2 down to 8. And yeah, that was relatively easy. We had a couple of decisions that game, but not really many. That's why I like draft, because there's 3 elements, as I like to say, in draft. There's drafting a good deck, there's playing well, and then there's getting lucky in the games, and in opening good cards. And drafting a good deck is just not an element that you have in constructed. Like, sure, building a good constructed deck, but that's much different from drafting a good deck, because you can just Google someone's good constructed deck and play with that. So, like, in draft, like, my deck is just so much better than my opponent's deck right now that I don't even have to do anything particularly good. And another white opponent. I don't know why every opponent seems to love playing white decks. White-red, no less. Sure. La-da-dee, la-da-doo. La-da-dee, da-dee-dee-doo-doo, da-dum-ba-dee. Let's just put Karn into play and tick up. Really make things tricky on the opponent. Because now they can only hit it for 3. And it's not attacking us, so just giving us time. Do they have Run Amok? Nope. Let's start by plussing. So let's just blink of an eye this thing, because we have so many cards in hand. Then play Skittering Surveyor. So yeah, we're in great shape here. We can just chump block to protect our Karn. Sure. And now we just trade off our 3-1 for their 2-2, which is just ideal. So that's the thing. We had Karn in play. He got us a decent amount of value. He made our opponent make suboptimal plays. And we drew about 1 billion cards off of it. So, and none of them were Tempest Djinns. So we have all of our good cards left in our 21 cards. We have 8, 6, 10. We know where 11 of our lands are. So there's only 7 lands left. So 2/3 of our deck is spells. We have this Blood Tallow Candle in play. If they play a 4-drop, we'd much rather blink of an eye that. Okay, so we got a little bit punished. So they're color screwed on white mana. Let's just bounce that. We're looking for a Cloud Reader Sphinx here. We're just going to stall while we wait to draw a Cloud Reader Sphinx or something. Yeah. Booyah. Yeah, that sounds about right. Those 2 cards are good. I don't know what that thing was that I just X'd out of, but oh well. If they attack me, I don't think I'll block. Okay. So that's one way to do it. No blocks. So what my thought here is I'll just Blood Tallow Candle here, and then I'll have my Syncopate up to protect my Tempest Djinn, and my Tempest Djinn is so big that it won't matter anyway. Oh, I have enough mana to cast Tempest Djinn? Let's just do that then. I want to have Syncopate up to protect it, because Tempest Djinn is actually really important here, and just getting it killed by something seems a little bit loose. Granted, they can still kill Cloud Eater things, but Tempest Djinn's going to have 10 power here. So, a 10-4 flyer is something that's worth protecting. Worth protecting. Look how much damage we save by, like, stopping that thing. It's also going to be a 12-powered flyer eventually, so... We want to kill them in 2 turns, ideally, so... We don't care about going to 10 life. Don't want to let their combat tricks be the same as removal spells. Sure, that resolves. Sure. That's a little bit bizarre. Because now they're going to have to hold it back to block. We still have Syncopate for if they have something tricksy. I would be much more scared of the Frenzied Rage on this thing. And then this thing chump blocking my 11-powered Tempest Djinn. Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, I'm not going to go to 7 life. So now he has to chump block. Yeah, the Frenzied Rage placement was kind of weird. He put too much stock in that Blessed Light working out. Yeah, this is probably the biggest Tempest Djinn that has ever existed, because nobody plays this many lands in Constructed, so... Let's just befuddle for the sake of drawing a card. We shrank our own Tempest Djinn. And now we have lethal, because this guy gives it unblockable. We have a 3-4 and a 12-4. Boom! Oh, man. This is too good. Hey, we're in Platinum! Let's go! Platinum hype. Oh, man. Things are better when you're having fun. That's what I always say. This is great. This is so broken. Oh, my gosh. That was probably the... I'm not even kidding. That's probably the biggest Tempest Djinn there's ever been, because I literally had 12 lands in play. So, like, 12 islands. The mono blue deck in Standard runs 20 islands, but that's out of a 60-card deck. And I run 18 islands in a 40-card deck. So, like, there's no way there's been a 12-power Tempest Djinn. I mean, there probably has been, but 12-power Tempest Djinn in Standard seems so weird. Like, how have you not won the game at that point? 12-powered Tempest Djinn. That's so brutal. Oh, man. Ooh, playing against a Diamond player. Time to prove our mettle. I don't think they place gold players against Diamond players, but hopefully this guy knows what he's doing. We're keeping this, of course. Why do we always play against red decks? Red-white decks are not the best. Please play an island. There we go. This is going to be a real battle. Okay, this guy knows what's going on. Finally. I've been waiting for you, opponent. A real struggle for our mono blue beautiful deck. Okay. Or he's just an aggressive person and playing aggro. Let's just go with this guy, and hopefully that shuts down his attacks. Because for 4 mana, he can't really do a ton. Oh, gosh. That's not great. Hopefully I draw a land. Yikes. So I'm going to take 6 next turn. I could lose this game. I think I have to find a land, though, so I can keep casting my spells and not fall too far behind. That's a brutal start. Brutal. I think we've lost this game. Let's end the turn and discard a Hammered Explorer. Because I feel like they have Syncopate up or something. Yeah, I knew they had Syncopate. There we go. So we go to 4. No! Rats. We need land. I think the only way we've ever lost in Dominaria since I've been doing the, like, more recently been doing these drafts of it, is when my opponents have drawn lands and I haven't. Give me a land. Come on. All I need is a land. And I lose the game. Brutal. Rats! We would have been fine, but we didn't hit a land. I mean, we could have been fine if we'd hit land every turn, because we would have just been able to play multiple cards in a turn. But it happens. Oh, man. Or if we'd been on the play. He just got to get it out to too fast of a start. Like, if having to play Skittering Surveyor in order to not die, I mean, in order to keep hitting lands, seemed like, I feel like I had to play the Skittering Surveyor, but maybe I was just supposed to not do that. Maybe I was just supposed to keep playing the Tempest Djinn. But it seems like they'll just have a removal spell on 5 a lot of the time, and I'm just falling too far behind or something. I don't know. I don't know. It could have been a misplay to just not keep playing Tempest Djinn. I'm just going to play the Blood Tallow Candle on turn 1. It gives me more options with Karn on turn 4. Rats. So I think if I kept, keep continuing to play the Tempest Djinn was probably correct, but I was probably going to still lose that game because I didn't hit my 3rd land for a while. 3-drop. Yeah, oh well. Just got to play this guy so I can trade for 3-2. Okay. A little bit scared of this Adelise. Maybe attacking was very unnecessary and just kind of bad. Oh my gosh. Yikes. I like those two. don't know if I needed a land. No tax. I'm going to be milling anyway, probably. No, because I wanted to go next turn. I wanted to go these two guys. I guess land is probably not necessary. Oh, gosh. 8. Yeah, we lose. Yeah, we've lost to some ridiculous curve outs, though. Brutal. I really thought this deck was going to get 7 wins, but now I'm less sure. Blue-red Wizards literally just having turn 4, like Academy Mage or whatever. Really wrecks us, apparently. We're going to keep this hand. This hand is excellent. I mean, our deck is still very good, so we'll beat most decks. It's just blue-red decks that have the Journey Mage into the stupid... I mean, the bounce guys are so good against my deck, I guess. Yeah, that's not where you want to be. And he's mana screwed. This game just got a heck of a lot easier. Two Syncopates should be enough to stop most of his relevant spells. Okay, of course. We miss out on the Slimefoot window, but we have a couple Blink of an Eyes to stop him. And let's just get our Tempest Djinn out, and we'll hold up the Vidalian Arcanist as a extra way to cast Syncopate for an extra mana. So if he goes for Eviscerate or something. Let's counter that, use our mana. Also, we don't need to have 2 Syncopates kind of rotting away. We are going to play Tetsuko and hold up Syncopate. Because next turn we can hold up Syncopate for 1 anyway because of the Arcanist. And just tapping out doesn't seem wise. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Helm of the Host is brutal. I don't want to risk him just having a removal spell and messing me up with Helm of the Host. Yeah, we're just going to get as much pressure as possible now. Cloud Reader Sphinx is a 2-turn clock. And Tempest Djinn kills him by himself next turn. Vicious Offering, yeah. Gonna attack with everything. Now my 2 1/3s are lethal, my 3/4 is lethal, my 4/4 is lethal. There's no board wipes in this format, other than kind of Jaya's Immolating Inferno and the Phyrexian Scriptures. And we got the win! Yes! Whew, that was kind of close. I was worried. Those red-blue decks kind of stopped me in my tracks for a second, but we managed to get all the way to 7 wins with mono blue. If you did make it all the way to the end of the video, in the comment section down below, type hashtag monobluevictory to let me know you made it all the way to the end, or hashtag 12 for Tempest Djinn, because that was another pretty cool accomplishment. But that is, yeah, that is all of the way to the end. I'm pretty happy with the way the deck performed. It was pretty awesome to draft a monocolored deck in draft. We had some cool payoffs for it as well. And let's just open some of these packs. But I really hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff. Just going to open some stuff, though. I know people sometimes like opening packs at the end of the video. Dreadshade. A triple black card. Not a triple blue card, but, you know. And I guess we'll open this War of the Spark pack just for fun. Boom. Deliver unto evil. We delivered them onto mono blue. Oh man, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you next time.